What a wonderful evening. In a dining hall of a small Reformed theological school in Western Kenya, there are very few ornaments. The room, like our Schreer Commons, is built for gathering and meal sharing with chairs, long wooden tables, a sink for washing hands. The place is basically all business, except for one sign that reads, "God reigns." God reigns, as in supreme, in case you need a reference point. God reigns, in case you might be confused. A reminder every day, at breakfast for chai, at lunch for githeri, at dinner for sukuma wiki and ugali. And don't forget, twice a day, every day at 10 and 4 for tea. All told, 5 reminders a day, in case you forget. God reigns. What could such a regular reminder of the sovereignty of God mean? In spite of the truth that God alone is supreme, we, God's human creatures, are prone to forget. When we forget, we think we reign, much as Dee Niles shared in her wonderful sermon. And this creates all sorts of evil mischief. Or we plug in false idols and imagine that money reigns, power reigns, whiteness reigns, colonizers reign, men reign, adults reign, able-bodied people reign, straight people reign. You get the picture. When we forget that God reigns, not us, we destroy ourselves. And when we confuse that various configurations of social power reign, we destroy each other. Either way, forgetting that God reigns is a path to violence and destruction. And you could call this the story of the Bible or the history of the world. And all of it grieves the spirit of our loving, reigning Creator God. Now, as a theological educator in the United States context, I am intrigued by the pedagogical purpose for this sign on the campus of our beloved sibling school, the Reformed Institute of Theological Training of the Reformed Church of East Africa in Kenya. The leaders of the school, of which many of your classmate, Reverend Edith Chamorian, is a proud alumna, have put this sign in the place where the students, faculty, staff gather more than any other, in the most formative space, where the most formative practice, that of breaking and sharing bread, takes place. This sign is always already teaching the most important of all truths. God is God, and we are not. God reigns. Now, all of this might sound sort of retro, coming from America's next top spokesmodel and cheerleader for the progressive Christian movement, yours truly. However, and how is a simple iteration like a phrase, God reigns, progressive? Because it is good theology. And it grounds and orients us in an ethical vision that sees God's purposes aligned with resisting tyranny, domination, and violence, and promoting one power above all other powers, which, as the psalmist, Jesus, the Apostle Paul, and John the Evangelist, to name a few, all teach us, is the power of love. God reigns means that love reigns. And if love reigns, the world has a message that is very good news indeed. Bullies and bigots, blowhards, beware. Your foundations are a fraud. God reigns, and with God's reign, the power of love reigns supreme. Class of 2021, let's take a page out of the playbook of our sibling school in Kenya. Let us find daily, even hourly reminders of how God is God and we are not. In our ministries, in our leadership, let this be our test. Is this strategic direction, sermon, new program, collaborations of ministries and organizations that we are leading, grounded in the truth of God's sovereignty and the power of God's love? The organizing of forces of treachery and tyranny in our time are simply too powerful for us to lead with any less clarity and purpose. The value of your work together, class of 2021, over these years, the risks you have taken, the pain you have endured, the challenges you have shared together, the trespasses you have made on one another, the forgiveness you have extended to one another. It's all too precious to squander on ministries that are anything less than inspired by one another's testimonies. Remember that. Treasure that. You are not alone. Draw on one another's courage. Draw on one another's strength. Build on one another's witness. Trust in the Spirit's leading that has brought you this far together, even in the last year and a half when you all have been far apart. God reigns in this truth. Let yourselves be as 2021 classmates for one another and as treasured 2021 alumni for your school, Eden, a beacon of God's love and an embodiment of good news in the world. May God bless you and keep you in their eternal and all-powerful love. And may you be agents of this love. And may you be encouraged and sustained in this love as you commence from this school to share the transforming good news of God's love with more and more people. God reigns. Thanks be to God. Amen.